Violence along the Israel-Gaza border has steadily escalated since the abduction and killing of 3 teenagers in the West Bank on June 12, along with Israel's heavy-handed response that has killed at least 12 Palestinians. On Thursday, 3 projectiles hit residential buildings in the Israeli town of Sderot, among which was an apartment that serves as a private nursery school. Rockets fired overnight knocked out electricity in some parts of the town. For more on the situation, let's cross live to our correspondent Roee Ruttenberg in Jerusalem. Hello, Roee. We are hearing word of a possible ceasefire. There have been that between Israeli and Palestinian forces in Gaza. Tell us more about that.
Indeed, that report just coming a little under 3 hours ago reported by the BBC, citing a Hamas source speaking on condition of anonymity. That would include an Egyptian brokered ceasefire. The Israelis and Hamas officials in Gaza speaking via officials in Cairo. It is unclear, but perhaps one sign that there is some sort of easing of the escalation along that front. Israel's Home Front Command rescinded an order that residents in the southern towns stay in shelters. Instead, they were told to simply stay close to shelters in case there are more rockets. Now, of course, the movement of troops into the southern area near the border with Gaza was meant to send a message. It is different than troop movements in the West Bank, which are often frequent, if not permanent, in some areas. But Israel says the troops near the border with Gaza were there more to protect the local population. The arrival of troops near Israel's border with Gaza, officials say, isn't meant to escalate the situation. Quite the opposite, a military spokesman said on Wednesday. They are there to, quote, boost defensive positions. This as rockets fired from the Palestinian strip of territory continued to hit towns in southern Israel.
It's impossible not to start each day with fear. And the children, even though I tell them not to be afraid, when it reaches you, it changes everything, the whole situation.
The movement on the ground complements the movement in the sky, as Israeli jets struck from above. Israeli officials say they went after 15 targets connected to the Islamist group Hamas, including rocket launchers and weapons storage facilities. Palestinian officials say more than a dozen civilians were injured in the strikes. Hamas's military wing warned Israel to wind down its offensive.
The enemy's threats of war on Gaza are threats that do not mean anything in our vocabulary. They just mean that the time for our revenge is coming closer.
Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, clashes for a second day, following the discovery of a body believed to be 16-year-old Mohammed Abu Qdir. Palestinians say Jewish settlers abducted and killed the youth in revenge for the killing of 3 Jewish teenagers. His family waited for the body to be returned to them so that he could be buried. They blamed Israel for failing to protect them.
This is an Israeli area, and in Israeli neighborhoods there's supposed to be security and safety. If it was a Palestinian area, then we would have gone to the government and said, come look and help us find who killed our son. Israel supposedly has the strongest security force in the world, and the biggest. Is it really the biggest security force in the world that when an Arab is killed, there's no security?
His frustration is echoed in the streets, and Israeli forces are preparing for more violence ahead. Forensic results show that indeed the body at Israel's Abu Kabir Forensic Institute does belong to that 16-year-old teen. His family is still waiting for the body, but there are many questions as to who is responsible. Israeli authorities putting a gag order on several of the details involving the case.
Well, we are also hearing that police are preparing for more clashes following the funeral of Mohammed Abu Qdir.
Indeed, the body was originally supposed to be released on Thursday. That didn't happen as the family was expecting. They were informed late last night that the body would be released following Friday prayers. Now, those are expected to end in about an hour's time. This is not just This is not just significant because Friday prayers are often when there are clashes, but this is the first Friday in the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, so many more people are on hand. Last night, protests spread to to other East Jerusalem neighborhoods, including Silwan, and so police are expecting some sort of response following the funeral this afternoon. Early this morning already we saw many additional police on hand here in various parts of Jerusalem.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Roee Ruttenberg in Jerusalem.